Welcome, my name is Antos, and today I wanted to show you guys a new wireless video system for your DSLR or any camera that has a HDMI output. So this is it here. This is the transmitter up here, and this is the receiver. This system is from a company called Came TV. I've already reviewed a bunch of their products. They sell all kinds of things from lights to wireless follow focus, actually, Steadicams, gimbals, things like that. You can find all of their products at came-tv.com. This is a fairly new product that they have, and I decided to test it out because especially if you're using a gimbal, if you're using a crane, for example, with your camera, having a wireless video system comes in really handy. I already did a video last year which was talking about a sort of a cheaper do-it-yourself sort of a wireless video system, which was also HD and actually was this thing up here. This is the transmitter, and this is the receiver. And this thing basically uses a consumer product that you can get most electronics stores. It's basically a wireless HDMI transmitter for if you're playing, for example, Xbox, or you want to play a DVD or something, and or let's say you have a projector mounted on the ceiling, and you just want to have it, be visible on your TV without having to run all the cables. So that's what it works great. So it works great if it's within the same room, and it's cheaper, a lot cheaper. This one you can get for around $300, while this professional system is going to cost you $1,300. Now, the biggest difference between this cheaper version and then the professional, wireless video system is the distance that it basically will work at. If you're using this cheaper system within for example, the same room, it's going to work great. It transmits the video signal. Now, if you have, for example, a lot of interference, let's say a lot of cell phone and other kind of signals that interfere or they're in the same frequency, then this system will start giving you problems because you cannot change the channels. Also, this system will not work really past walls. When I kind of tested it out, if you have some really thin walls and you go, basically you have the transmitter and the receiver in two separate rooms, it will work, but sometimes it might give you problems. Now, if you have line of sight, like open line of sight, and you can, where the receiver and transmitter can kind of see each other, and then this system will work a bit further, but again, it's not going to be as far as this one. This one will go about, like from my experience, reliably around 20 to 30 feet. Anywhere beyond that, you're really going to start having problems, especially if you have, like, let's say if you have the transmitter mounted on the camera, and let's say the receiver is on the other side of the camera, and the signal does not travel very well through the metal body of the camera and to the transmitter. So you kind of always want to make sure that these two are kind of facing each other. Also, this system, it seems like it's smaller and lighter than the professional one, especially if you compare, let's say, the transmitter. Here's the professional one. Here's the cheaper version, but really that's kind of misleading, and the reason is because this system requires you to power it from an external USB battery. So here's like these kind of batteries I'm going to get. This is a bigger one. Usually I use that with my receiver, and then here's the smaller portable USB battery. So I kind of velcro it up here, and once you add, like I said, that battery, it's pretty much the same size. Also, like I said, it's kind of a problem because we have to get these batteries and you have to velcro it. It's not as secure. So that's kind of the major difference between this system and then the professional one. And so what's so cool about this system, and why is it worth spending $1,000 more over the cheaper version? If you're serious about video production and you don't want to have any kind of problems with whether it's signal interference or even just using it at a certain distance, then you definitely want to get something like this. It's going to be more reliable. This system is advertised to be working up to 260, I believe, feet. Now, in my experience, up to 200 feet, line of sight, of course, not, there's no like cars or buildings between you. 200 feet, it works perfectly. No problems, no lag. There's literally completely no lag in the system as far as I've seen. And the signal is beautiful, 1080p, clean HD signal. So that's the big advantage of this. And you don't really have to worry, like I said, then of the range. Whereas the other system, if you have let's say a camera mounted on a Steadicam, and then you're using it so that you can run a wireless video signal to your video village, where you can have, let's say, the director watching the shot, or let's say you have a wireless focus puller who's also watching the screen, so you can pull focus. Well, like I said, with this system, you don't really have to worry about it because 200 feet is more than enough of a range. Versus the other one, sometimes I did have problems. Like pretty much I had to make sure that the other monitor or the focus puller that I was, was using this wireless video system had to be, like I said, within 30 feet. That's with the other cheaper version. This one, like I said, you don't have to worry about that. So that's a great thing. Now, as far as the distance goes, I'll tell you one thing is, the dimension it gets shortened a lot once you have some objects in between. So if you have, for example, like let's say if you have this mounted and there's like a person, blocking the transmitter with their body, and then maybe there's another person next to them, or if you have, let's say, a car in between, it's already going to start, shortening the distance. So you're not going to be going quite as, maybe 150 feet. But really the biggest thing that shortens the distance of this thing are walls, or buildings. So it works no problem if you just have a regular wall, or even a brick wall, and you have the transmitter and the receiver in two separate rooms. That's no problem. But for example, when I was testing this and I had the transmitter in the basement and I was on the third floor of a building, then the signal was not as clear. Sometimes it would kind of cut out. So those are the kind of limitations that you want to be aware of. Now, most cases you should be okay just being sort of a next door. So that should be no problem. Now, the really cool thing that I like about the system is just sort of how the whole thing works together. Like I said, you do not longer need those little USB batteries. You just kind of put the batteries up here, and then it mounts very easily into your camera and all that stuff. You don't need the Velcro and the other things like you would have to do with the cheaper version. So let me just kind of put it together here and show you guys how the system works and just how fast and easy it is to set up. So first we'll set up the transmitter. It comes already with the hot shoe mount up here, and the whole system actually comes with extra hot shoe mounts, so you can put them here on the back. If you prefer it lying flat, you can put it like this. And the same thing with the receiver. If you want to put that and mount it using a hot shoe, you can also do that. So here I'm going to take a Canon 7D, but any camera with a hot shoe will work. So I'll put it under here. Next thing I'll do is I'll put the battery. Now, the transmitter works with the Canon style LP batteries. So here I have the LP6 battery from the Canon 7D or like 5D cameras. So I just mount it in here. And then we're gonna just take the video signal and we're gonna plug it into here. Once you have this, the antennas, I don't know if it makes a difference, but I heard somewhere that having them sort of like 45-degree angles helps a little bit, so we can put them up there like this. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the receiver, and again I'm going to put a battery in this. Now, the battery that the receiver uses are actually Sony batteries, so you might be kind of wondering why this one uses the Canon LP batteries and this one uses the Sony NP batteries. But the reason is because most people who use DSLRs use Canon DSLRs, so I'm guessing that's why the manufacturer thought that it might make more sense. Versus when it comes to the monitors, most monitors accept the Sony NP style batteries, and so this way, the manufacturer again, I guess, was thinking that you're more likely to have those kind of batteries. And since this mounts onto the monitor, it just kind of makes more sense. Now, one really cool thing about this is that it comes with basically a mount with a Sony NPF style battery mount here, and then it has the mount on the other side that actually takes the battery, and this will actually loop the signal, the battery power voltage through, so you can actually mount this now directly to your monitor. So if you have a monitor with a NPF style Sony NPF style battery plate here, then you can mount the receiver right on this thing. Now, if you don't have it, you can still, like I said, put the hot shoe mount and you can mount it some other way or mount it on a tripod. But what's cool about this is, like I said, is normally you would just have this battery mounted to the back of your monitor. Well, now you kind of just have the receiver kind of in between there. So you mount the receiver on the back of the camera and then you put the battery on the back of the receiver. And that makes for a very clean, basically, installation. Now, like I said, like here, if you notice, I have Velcro from when I used to use my other system. Whereas with this system, I no longer need that Velcro because everything just kind of attaches nicely to the battery plate. I'm going to put the HDMI in signal. And right there, let me just power it all up so you can see how it looks. Turn on the camera. And we'll just press the power on the transmitter. And we'll turn on the power on the receiver. Turn the monitor on. And right there, I'm getting the video signal. And you can see it. But yeah, right there. And again, if I just do a quick test, like let's say moving my hand, so you'll notice there's no lag as far as I can see it. So the manufacturer in the manual says that there is a very slight lag, but I cannot really tell. So it seems like it's like dead on real time. So that's another advantage of this system versus the cheaper system. The other one did have a bit more of a noticeable lag. So yeah, as you can see, the system works very well. And like I was saying, you have some settings here. You can change the channels, and also one really cool thing that this system has here on the side, you have a connection. The one is the USB connection, which is just for updating firmware and things like that. But the other one is for audio. So you have a separate audio connection. So in case, let's say, you don't want to transmit the audio from your camera through the HDMI, but let's say you have like a Zoom recorder or some kind of a microphone up here, and you want to actually transmit the audio from that microphone, or whatever other audio source that you want to transmit at that moment, you can do that. So you can plug it in here, and then it will transmit that audio, not the audio from the HDMI that's coming out of your camera. It's a really cool feature if, for example, you have a sound guy that has a mix board, and he's got a bunch of microphones set up, and you want to take the final output that his mix board puts out, and you want to transmit that audio into your monitor. Then so yeah, as you can see, there's no problems really with the system that I've experienced. As you can see, again, I'll just show you quickly. There's no lag whatsoever. The video signal is very clear. The system works how it's supposed to, and I think it's just well designed, given the fact that, like I said, it mounts very easily on a DSLR onto the back of your monitor. Now, I know some of you guys out there are wondering, how would you do it? Basically, if you're using a Canon camera, how would you transmit the video signal to another monitor for your director or remote, focus puller, but so that the camera operator can also see what's in the camera? Well, since the Canon cameras have a limitation where the second you connect basically an HDMI cable, you're losing your video here in the back of the camera here, LCD, then the way that you have to do it is you have to have a monitor here mounted, and you kind of would loop the signal through that. So I have, for example, here this monitor that I'm using. That's the Aperture VS3 monitor. Great monitor. You guys can check out the review of it. The link is in the description of this video. And this monitor, what's cool about it is that it's, aside from the quality and the fact that, it's so small, it has a HDMI in and HDMI out. So what I do then is I would mount that monitor here on the top of my camera with a hot shoe, and then I would mount the camera transmitter on the back here of the monitor, and I would basically run the HDMI signal out to the monitor, and then the HDMI out from the monitor, I would run it into the camera, the video transmitter. Then I would connect the whole video receiver on another monitor, which I have here, happens to be another Aperture, which this one's the Aperture VS2 monitor. Great monitor. Major difference between this one and that one, aside from a few cool software upgrades that this version has, is that this one doesn't have the HDMI loop through, so it only has HDMI in, which is okay if you're using it as your final sort of monitor for your director or focus puller, because all they really need is just to be able to plug this in. So then you would basically take the video transmitter here, receiver, plug it here in the back, and then your director can just be holding it up here and watching your signal, while your camera operator sees the video signal here on their primary monitor. Very easy way to set up. So once again, like I said, if you guys are just wondering how to do it, you want to loop the video signal from your camera through a monitor, and then the video out on the monitor, you would then connect it to your video transmitter. Very simple. Now, if you're kind of interested in this little handle here that I have, this little monitor cage that I built, this is actually a do-it-yourself cage. It will cost you $10 really to build. If you guys are interested in how to do it, again, the link for this video, it's a video that I did a long time ago. Link for it to it is in the description of this video, or as always, you can go to my website. And the same thing applies if you want to find out any information about, for example, this wireless video system, the monitors that I'm showing up here, or many other filmmaking gear reviews or filmmaking tutorials. I have all of that and a lot more on my website, which is tomantosfilms.com. Also on my website, I have some exclusive filmmaking tutorials, where I show you how you set up the camera, do the lights, you know, what lenses to use, lens and camera settings, and then even the final color correction to get these kind of results. And I also have other products where I'll show you right from the beginning of coming up with the concept to actually producing a film. And also the same thing if you're interested in making professional looking music videos. I have a product that will take you through all the necessary steps. And again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.